At 79, the tragedy of David Gilmour is beyond heartbreaking. Fans around the world who grew up listening to the soul-stirring sounds of Pink Floyd can hardly believe what's happening to the man whose music once defined a generation. David Gilmour, the legendary guitarist whose voice and melodies became the heartbeat of classic rock, is now facing one of the most difficult chapters of his life. Those close to him say it's been a painful and emotional time as health challenges and personal loss begin to take their toll. For decades, David's music was a source of comfort to millions, yet behind the gentle voice and the soothing guitar lies a man quietly struggling with the passage of time. He has always been private, choosing peace over fame. But recent appearances have left fans deeply concerned. The sparkle in his eyes seems dimmer, the energy that once electrified the stage now replaced with visible exhaustion. Insiders reveal that years of touring late nights and emotional strain have finally caught up with him. Friends say David spends most of his time away from the spotlight, now surrounded by his loved ones, reflecting on the life he's lived and the music he's created. Those who've spoken to him describe him as grateful, yet deeply emotional about the realities of aging and loss. He's been open about the physical limitations that come with growing older, and how difficult it has been to accept that he can no longer play or perform as effortlessly as before. But even through the struggle, his love for music remains unshaken. He often says that playing guitar still gives him peace, reminding him of who he truly is. What makes his story even more heartbreaking is how much he misses his old bandmates and the magic they once created together. Losing friends along the way, especially Richard Wright, left a wound that never truly healed. David often visits the places that inspired his greatest songs, like the English countryside where he once found peace in nature. Fans say he's been seen walking quietly by the river, guitar in hand, lost in thought, as if reliving the memories of a time long gone. Many say it's heartbreaking to see a man who gave so much now living in quiet reflection, trying to come to terms with his own mortality. But despite the sadness, there's also beauty in the way he's embraced simplicity. He spends his days painting, writing, and spending time with his grandchildren, teaching them about music and life. He's said that they are his greatest source of joy and the reason he keeps going. His wife Polly has been his constant support, standing by him through every challenge. She's helped him stay grounded, reminding him that his legacy will live forever through his music. Those who visited him recently say he listens to his old recordings sometimes with tears in his eyes, not out of regret, but gratitude for the journey he's had. He once said, "Music is a reflection of the soul," and maybe that's why his songs still touch hearts decades later. David's life has never been about fame or money. It's always been about truth, emotion, and connection. And even now, as he faces health battles and the loneliness that often comes with age, he continues to inspire others with his quiet strength. Fans around the world have flooded social media with messages of love, prayers, and memories of how his music helped them through hard times. One fan wrote, "Your guitar spoke what words could never say," and that sentiment echoes across generations. David may no longer tour or perform the way he used to, but his influence is everywhere. Every time someone listens to "Comfortably Numb" or "Wish You Were Here," they feel his spirit, his pain, and his genius. He once said that music was his way of escaping the world, and now it seems the world is returning that gift by holding him close in memory and love. This chapter of David Gilmour's life is bittersweet, filled with reflection, loss, and gratitude. It's a reminder that even legends are human, facing time and frailty with grace. And though it's painful to see him slow down, the world will never forget the man whose music gave voice to emotion itself. As David continues to live quietly, surrounded by love, we can only thank him for everything he's given us. His story is one of art, legacy, and humanity. So if his music ever touched your soul, take a moment to send him love and honor his legacy by subscribing for more heartfelt stories that celebrate the lives of those who changed the world with their hearts and their art. Fans who have followed David Gilmour for decades can't help but feel emotional seeing their hero slow down. This is the man whose guitar solos could make even the hardest hearts weep, whose calm presence and soft-spoken wisdom defined an era. At 79, he's not just a musician, he's a living memory of a golden age of music. Those close to him say he's been reflecting deeply on what it means to leave a legacy and how fragile time truly is. He often speaks about the cost of fame and how it sometimes takes more than it gives. David has always been a thinker, a quiet soul who found peace in music when words failed. Now that peace is what he seeks most. Sources close to him reveal that he's been dealing with ongoing health issues that have forced him to slow down drastically. Simple things like long guitar sessions or studio work have become harder, but he still tries to play a few minutes every day just to feel the strings beneath his fingers. He says it keeps him alive. It's heartbreaking to imagine the man behind those timeless Pink Floyd melodies now sitting in silence, where there was once sound, but David finds beauty in that stillness. He says that music doesn't stop when the playing stops. It continues in the heart. He's been spending quiet mornings in his garden, writing notes, reflecting on life, and remembering his old bandmates who are no longer here. He's shared that losing Richard Wright was one of the most painful experiences of his life, and that the bond they had on stage could never be replaced. Even his memories of Roger Waters, despite their conflicts, are now tinged with forgiveness. Time has softened old wounds, leaving only gratitude. Fans say this newfound openness is proof that David has found peace within himself. Though his body may have slowed, his spirit remains strong. Those who've visited him say he still smiles easily, especially when he's with his grandchildren. They bring light back into his world, reminding him of why he kept going, even through pain. His wife, Polly Sampson, continues to be his anchor, the one who helps him find purpose in quiet moments. Together, they've built a life centered on love, art, and understanding. David says he's finally learned that happiness doesn't come from applause, but from peace. He's been donating to charities supporting young musicians and mental health causes, hoping to inspire a new generation to use music as a form of healing. His story now serves as a lesson to us all that even when the stage lights fade, the legacy of kindness and creativity never dies. David Gilmour's tragedy is not only in the frailty of age, but in the passage of time itself. Yet his courage to face it with grace makes him more powerful than ever. If his journey touches your heart, take a moment to honor him by subscribing and keeping his light alive. Because legends like David never truly fade, they simply transform into music that will echo forever. As David Gilmour enters his late 70s, his life has become a mixture of reflection, nostalgia, and quiet resilience. Those who know him say he's been more introspective than ever, often sitting with his guitar in silence, before playing a single note that carries the weight of a lifetime. His hands may tremble now, but the sound that comes from them still holds the same soul that once filled stadiums around the world. Fans who grew up listening to Pink Floyd describe him as the voice of their youth, the sound of comfort during dark times. But behind that timeless music lies a man who has faced immense pain, loss, and loneliness. Over the years, David has spoken about the emotional toll of fame and how it left him feeling empty even at the height of success. The touring, the pressure, the constant expectation to be perfect. It all came with a price. He once said that music saved him, but also consumed him. Now, at 79, he's learning to separate the two. Friends say he's been struggling with bouts of fatigue and health challenges that have made it difficult for him to perform or travel. While he hasn't spoken publicly about every detail, those close to him confirm that he's been forced to slow down and focus on recovery. Yet even in this fragile state, his love for music has not disappeared. Every now and then, he'll pick up his guitar and lose himself in melodies that seem to come from another world. His wife Polly says those moments are when he's most alive. She often describes how he closes his eyes and lets the music carry him back to memories of his youth, of the early days with Pink Floyd, of nights spent writing songs that would change music forever. But those memories are bittersweet. He's watched many of his peers fade away. The friends he once laughed with, the bandmates he shared stages with, gone too soon. It's left him questioning his own mortality and the fleeting nature of fame. Yet instead of fear, he feels gratitude. He's said that every sunrise feels like a gift, and every chord a prayer. Fans who've written to him say they've received heartfelt replies, short letters filled with warmth and appreciation. It's proof that even in pain, he's still giving, still connecting with those who love him most. The tragedy of David Gilmour isn't just in aging or illness. It's in the quiet acceptance that life's greatest moments are always fleeting. He's been spending his time surrounded by family, working on small musical projects in his home studio when his health allows. Polly often joins him, writing lyrics that reflect their shared journey through love, loss, and endurance. Together, they've turned pain into poetry. Those who've heard snippets of his new private recordings say they're some of the most emotional pieces he's ever created, raw, honest, and deeply spiritual. It's as if he's saying goodbye, not with words, but with music. But even as his body slows, his legacy grows stronger. Fans from every generation continue to discover his work, keeping his music alive in ways that even he finds overwhelming. He's said that knowing people still listen to his songs decades later gives him comfort. It reminds him that, though time passes, art is eternal. David Gilmour's story at 79 is not just one of heartbreak, it's one of transformation. He may no longer fill arenas, but he fills hearts. He may no longer chase perfection, but he still chases truth in every note. His life now is a quiet symphony of gratitude, love, and reflection. And for those who've been touched by his music, his journey is a reminder that true brilliance never fades. It simply evolves into something softer, deeper, and more human. If David's story moves, you take a moment to honor his legacy by subscribing and sharing his message of hope. Because even in silence, his music still speaks louder than words. In recent years, David Gilmour's life has been marked by both peace and pain, a reflection of the duality that always existed in his music. At 79, he has learned to live slower, cherishing the simplicity that fame once took away. Friends say he spends his mornings walking through his garden near his home in Sussex, quietly observing the world that inspired so many of his songs. He finds beauty in small things: the sound of birds, the soft breeze, the stillness that reminds him that life, despite its hardships, is still beautiful. But there's also a quiet sadness in his eyes, the kind that comes from having seen too much loss. Over the years, David has lost not just bandmates, but close friends who shared his journey through music and madness. The death of Wright, Pink Floyd's keyboardist, hit him especially hard. They had their differences in the early years, but in later life, they found peace through music, and losing him left a wound that never truly healed. David once said that every time he plays, he still feels Richard beside him. That deep emotional connection is what makes his music timeless. It's not just sound, it's memory turned into melody. Yet, behind the serenity of his later life, there are whispers of health struggles that have forced him to retreat even more from the public eye. Though he rarely speaks about it, those close to him have expressed concern about his energy and mobility. Performing, once second nature to him, has become physically demanding. Still, when he picks up a guitar, something magical happens. Even if it's just for a few minutes, his eyes light up and his spirit seems to transcend the pain. His wife Polly has become his anchor through it all. She encourages him to keep creating, reminding him that his art continues to touch millions. Together, they spend long evenings reminiscing about their shared past, writing, or simply sitting in silence, watching the sunset. David often talks about how grateful he is for her love, saying she brought him peace when he needed it most. But the world outside continues to worry. Fans flood social media with messages of love and prayers, hoping for his recovery, hoping to see him perform one last time. They remember the soaring guitar solos that defined generations, the music that spoke of freedom, loss, and hope. Songs like Comfortably Numb, Wish You Were Here and Shine on You, Crazy Diamond now carry even deeper meaning as the man behind them faces the twilight of his own story. David's tragedy isn't just about aging, it's about a heart that gave so much to the world now learning to rest. He once said that he doesn't fear death, only the idea of leaving unfinished melodies behind. Even now, he continues to record small snippets of music at home, pieces he may never release, but that capture his soul in sound. He believes that music is the language of the spirit, and as long as he can still play, he's still alive. For fans, knowing that he's still creating, still expressing himself, brings hope and comfort. Because David Gilmour's music has never just been entertainment, it's been therapy, light, and truth for millions. His life reminds us that even in fragility there is beauty, and that true greatness comes not from perfection, but from passion. At 79, David stands as a symbol of endurance and grace, a man who turned his pain into poetry and his silence into song. His legacy will echo far beyond his lifetime, carried through every guitar note and every heart he's touched. If his journey has ever inspired you, honor him by subscribing for more stories that celebrate icons like David Gilmour, whose music reminds us that love, loss, and art will always outlive time itself. As David Gilmour continues his quiet life away from the chaos of fame, those who know him say he has become more reflective than ever. At 79, every note he plays carries decades of emotion, and every word he speaks feels like a lesson learned through both beauty and pain. He often says that he doesn't see music as a career anymore. It's therapy, a way to make sense of the world and of himself. His days are now filled with simplicity, a stark contrast to the noise and madness of his Pink Floyd years. He spends more time with his family, especially his grandchildren, teaching them about music and life, reminding them that creativity is not about perfection, but about truth. Yet, even in these peaceful moments, those close to him can see the shadows of sadness that never fully left. Losing bandmates like Wright and Syd Barrett left scars that time couldn't erase. He often visits the past in his thoughts, remembering the laughter, the long studio nights, and the dreams they once chased together. Sometimes he plays the old songs softly at home, letting the echoes of yesterday fill the room. He says it's not nostalgia, it's connection. The music keeps their spirits alive, but the physical toll of age has become harder to ignore. He moves slower now, his energy not what it once was. Friends say he occasionally struggles with fatigue and pain, but he refuses to let it define him. Instead, he channels everything into his guitar, letting it speak the words his heart can't always say. Each string, each note, carries the weight of his journey, a life of brilliance, loss, and deep humanity. Polly, his wife, has remained his greatest comfort, standing beside him through every high and low. She's the one who reminds him to rest, to smile, and to keep believing that his purpose isn't over. Together, they've created a haven away from the world, surrounded by love, music, and memories. David says he's not afraid of what's next, that he's found peace in knowing he's lived fully and honestly. Fans, meanwhile, continue to worry. Every time rumors about his health appear, social media fills with heartfelt messages, tributes, and prayers. People from every corner of the world express how his songs shaped their lives, how his guitar solos carried them through heartbreak, loneliness, and hope. It's rare for one man's music to touch so many souls, but David's has always been different. It's pure emotion turned into sound. Even in silence, his legacy speaks volumes. Those close to him say he still records small melodies in his studio, bits and pieces that might one day become his final gift to the world. He often says he doesn't write for fame anymore, but for peace, for the love of the art that gave him everything. As his story continues, fans hold on to one simple truth: David Gilmour's music will never fade. Long after he's gone, his sound will remain eternal, echoing through generations as a symbol of truth, beauty, and the fragility of the human soul. At 79, David may be facing his most difficult chapter, but even in pain, he's teaching us something profound: that true art is born not from perfection, but from perseverance. As David Gilmour enters this fragile yet peaceful chapter of his life, he carries with him a deep sense of gratitude and reflection. Those who have been close to him say he spends hours each day sitting in his garden, watching the sunlight fall over the grass while softly strumming his guitar, lost in thought. He says that music still feels like home, even when the world around him changes. Sometimes he plays old Pink Floyd tracks, not for the audience anymore, but for himself, as if revisiting the ghosts of his past. Every note holds memories of Syd, of Rick, of the band's rise, the chaos, and the eventual solitude that followed. Fans may see him as a legend, but to David, he's just a man who found healing through sound. He once said that music saved him more than fame ever did. Now at 79, the physical strains of age are more visible. He walks slower, rests more often, and occasionally cancels appearances to protect his health. Those who know him best say he's at peace with it, accepting that life's rhythm has slowed and that it's okay to breathe between the notes. Polly remains by his side, often describing him as gentler and more introspective than ever. They spend quiet evenings reminiscing about their youth, their travels, and the moments that shaped their story. David still writes occasionally, simple songs about love, loss, and time, but not for an album. He says some melodies are just meant for the soul. Friends say he's been more spiritual lately, seeing life as a continuous flow rather than an end. When asked if he fears the future, he smiles and says no, that he's lived enough to know that love and art never die. Fans, meanwhile, continue to send messages of support and prayers, urging him to rest and take care of himself. Many share stories of how his music saved their lives, how a solo from Comfortably Numb or a lyric from Wish You Were Here carried them through dark times. David reads some of these messages and feels humbled, often saying he never imagined his guitar could become a source of healing for others. As his world grows quieter, his legacy grows louder. Younger artists cite him as a spiritual teacher in music, a reminder that true artistry comes from the heart, not the charts. And even though his health may not be what it once was, his presence still commands reverence and respect. David Gilmour's story isn't one of sadness. It's one of acceptance, of finding peace after decades of chaos, of learning that silence can be just as powerful as sound. Those who have followed David Gilmour for decades can see the quiet transformation in him now. At 79, the man who once stood before massive crowds, surrounded by dazzling lights and roaring applause, has traded that for sunsets and stillness. He doesn't crave the stage anymore. He craves peace. He's spoken about how time has a way of humbling even the strongest spirits, and how every note he plays now feels like a prayer rather than a performance. People close to him say he often talks about the friends he's lost over the years, like Syd Barrett and Wright. The memories of those days are bittersweet, filled with brilliance, but also with pain. He once said that losing Syd was like losing a piece of himself. And even now he feels that emptiness. Sometimes when he plays those early songs, he closes his eyes, and you can tell he's somewhere else. Somewhere deep in his past, where everything was simpler yet more painful. He's admitted that the fame and success that came with Pink Floyd never brought happiness. It only magnified the loneliness now in his old age. He's learning that peace doesn't come from applause, it comes from acceptance. David spends most of his days away from the spotlight, living quietly with his wife Polly in their countryside home. They grow their own food. They walk along the coast. They enjoy the rhythm of ordinary life, far from the chaos of fame. Sometimes he takes his grandchildren to his music studio and plays soft tunes just for them. No pressure, no expectations. Just love. Those moments mean more to him now than any concert ever could. His health has slowed him down, but it hasn't broken him. Those who see him say he still has that spark in his eyes, that gentle calmness that made millions fall in love with his music. In recent years, he's opened up more about the emotional toll of losing his bandmates, of dealing with the weight of expectations, and of trying to find purpose after decades of being defined by his art. He's said that the hardest part of aging isn't the pain or the fatigue. It's watching the people you love fade away. and realizing that you can't play a song long enough to bring them back. Fans around the world have noticed his rare appearances, and many worry about his health. But David wants people to understand that this isn't a tragedy. It's just the next part of life. He's grateful for every memory, every chord, every soul his music touched. He's made peace with his past. He doesn't need to prove anything anymore. He's given the world everything he had: his voice, his hands, his heart. And now he just wants to rest, to watch the sky change colors, and maybe strum a few final chords as the sun goes down. Because for David Gilmour, music was never about fame. It was always about feeling. And even now, in his quiet years, that feeling still lives on in every heart that ever listened to him.